Thank you, Mr. President. That money should be generated through funding. Thank you.
Through
Through funding.
funding by the governments or funding by...
Funding by the governments.
Okay. Thank you very much. Delegate from Nigeria, I hope you are clear on this.
Yes, Mr. President.
Thank you. I would take a last one from delegates from Ethiopia.
I would like to say that as a neighboring country to Sudan, we have done so many things to help them in their refugee problems, of which some include the expansion of industries, the empowerment of women, and then exporting more local products, creative competitive job opportunities. And I would like to say that other neighboring countries are not doing this, and they must think more to help this Sudan as a neighboring country, because that is how the UN works too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, delegate from Ethiopia. I would move on to the other side of the house, and I will take delegate from Lebanon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to ask the delegate from Nigeria how he will be able to resolve the conflict in Darfur, since all their resources were pumped into the conflict in his country.
Okay, is this in respect of his question to the delegate from Uganda, or this is in isolation of the trend?
It's in isolation.
All right, we will come back to that. But any other opinions on the current trend? I will take one from the delegate from Turkey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I suggest that we should take a look at the staff who are going to take care of the women and children in the refugee camps, since they have to do it from their heart and from their mind with all their body and soul. I think we should give them a policy, like assuring them that if they lose their lives or anything, their families are going to benefit from the revenue, like their salary or something, and their salary should be increased to help solve their problems as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, delegate from Turkey. Any responses, any reactions to the suggestion from the delegate from Turkey? Delegate from China.
Thank you, Mr. President. That suggestion must be taken into consideration by the House. Firstly, I would like to congratulate the representatives from Ethiopia for their rebuilding process in Sudan. I would also like to say that the appeal from Uganda and Japan has been well taken, and as of today, we the people of China promised 30,000 yen as support to aid all positive measures being taken to solve this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, delegate from China. Any further opinions? We move to the other side of the house, and we hear from delegate from Japan.
Thank you, Mr. President. And my question goes to China. China, please. You said that you are aiding the Sudan refugee camps with 30 billion yen. Did I get it right?
Go ahead, delegate from China.
Not really. You didn't get it right. You and Japan and Uganda, you put to the House that you needed funding to help solve the problem in Sudan, and we, the people of China, have promised 30,000 yen to aid in your appeal. Thank you.
Yes, delegate from Japan.
Thank you, China. And I would like to know the percentage of that amount that is going to the children, because as the children are our future, we need to consider their education and their welfare.
Well, if I would stand in for the delegate from China, what he's saying is that the Chinese government is pledging 30,000 yen as a contribution to your suggestion to pool funds to support Sudan. So where it goes will be determined by the UN and AU operations in Sudan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Delegate from Nigeria.
Thank you, Mr. President. My question goes to China. I would also like to know if this has been done.
Well, the delegate from China did state categorically that this is a promise. It is in response to the suggestion that funds are pulled to help the work in Sudan. But while we're thinking through that, I would also want you to respond to the delegate from Lebanon's question about your role in ensuring peace in Sudan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nigeria is putting pressure on Sudan to comply with the international community's decision, urging an end to the cycle of killings and sufferings. Thank you.
And how is this pressure being mounted? Okay, we will come back to that. Any other opinions on this matter? Delegate from United Kingdom.
Thank you, Mr. President. Over 200,000 refugees have fled to the neighboring state of Chad, which constitutes a serious burden upon that country. The UK calls upon nations to support in the placement of security on the borders upon the reported cross-border incursions by the Janjaweed militias of the Darfur region of Sudan into Chad. Thank you.
Thank you very much, delegate from the United Kingdom. Delegate from Brazil.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the behalf of the House, I would like to thank the delegate from China for his generous contribution towards the idea generated by the delegates from Uganda and Japan. And I would like to urge all other countries to make such generous contributions to the Sudan problem, because when Sudan has a problem, it affects the whole world. Thank you.
Thank you, delegate from Brazil. Any other opinions on this matter? Delegate from the United States of America.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to say this to the delegate from Nigeria. He said that we should pressurize Sudan. The United States, being a major donor of humanitarian aid, has imposed sanctions on Sudan, but Sudan has still underscored its efforts. So I believe it should take another alternative, because Sudan, they are a little bit stubborn on this case. So I think another issue should be taken to solve this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. In order of priority, I realized that a few of you delegates agree on the suggestions posed by the delegate from Uganda and Japan regarding pooling funds to support Sudan. In that respect, will any of you delegates move that this be carried as a motion so that all other member countries can comply? Okay, Excellencies, we're still in the debate session regarding the issue at hand. I would like to remind all delegates that all delegates are expected to make meaningful contributions to the discussion. And remember, like I said in my opening remarks, the issues of Sudan cannot be discussed in isolation. They must be considered as a total package of vision for the Sudanese people. So, as much as possible, let's look at the varied issues like we have mentioned and discuss them accordingly. Thank you very much. Delegate from Brazil.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to throw a question to the House. What do everyone here think the primary factor of peace is in Sudan?
You would be doing us a lot more good when you start. So can we hear from you?
From everyone's point of view, what is the primary factor for peace in Sudan?
So, from your point of view, what is the primary factor for peace?
From my point of view, I think the primary factor for peace in Sudan is education. They have to educate the people on their activities, like the people who are fighting against other people, yes, the harm they are doing to themselves and the harm they are doing to the entire nation.
Thank you very much, delegate from Brazil. On the back of that question, we will take a short recess, and when we come back, I would have all delegates speak to the same question and address it accordingly. Thank you.
There you have it. As you can see, the work of a United Nations diplomat is indeed tough, and our delegates are trying very hard to resolve an issue as delicate and technical as the one in Darfur. Need I remind you that from now, a lot of processes could go on before we reach a final decision. So join us again next week as we continue with our decision-making process. Bye!